fostering revolutionary conversations in movements for social change in an era where voices demanding justice echo through streets and digital platforms alike. The power of thought-provoking discussion has never been more vital. Activist communities are increasingly recognizing that transformative dialogue is essential to dismantling systemic oppression and envisioning equitable futures. Creative questioning techniques can ignite sparks of innovation within movements, challenging participants to re-examine assumptions while fostering deeper engagement. This guide explores how strategic inquiry can become a catalyst for meaningful societal transformation. The role of strategic inquiry in social justice work. Thoughtful questions act as intellectual mirrors reflecting our biases and blind spots back at us. In activist spaces, these reflections help uncover hidden prejudices shaping our actions and beliefs. Strategic questioning doesn't merely seek answers, it cultivates critical consciousness by exposing contradictions between stated values and lived realities. When facilitators ask pointed yet respectful queries, they create safe spaces for uncomfortable truths to surface. Example: a question like "How does our current approach to protest address intersectional challenges faced by marginalized groups?" forces participants to confront potential gaps in their strategies. Probing questions reveal underlying assumptions about power structures. Open-ended inquiries encourage creative problem-solving. Reflective prompts deepen personal accountability. This intentional interrogation process transforms passive listeners into active agents of change, empowering individuals to critically examine their role in perpetuating or disrupting systems of injustice. Crafting questions that challenge assumptions. Effective questioning requires careful consideration of language choice and framing. The way we phrase inquiries significantly influences the depth of responses we receive from activists engaged in complex issues. Purposefully vague phrasing often leads to superficial responses. Instead, using precise terminology helps anchor conversations around concrete aspects of social justice work. For instance, asking what specific policies have historically oppressed LGBTQ+ youth produces richer discussions than general questions about discrimination. A well-crafted question might look like, in what ways do our organizing tactics inadvertently exclude people with disabilities from participating fully? This specificity pushes groups to evaluate accessibility in practical terms rather than abstract ideals. By focusing on tangible examples, facilitators ensure discussions remain grounded in real-world applications rather than theoretical abstractions. Such targeted questioning fosters actionable insights that can be implemented immediately. Bridging ideological divides through dialogue. Activist spaces often contain diverse viewpoints shaped by different life experiences and political ideologies. Skilled facilitation of these discussions can turn ideological differences into opportunities for mutual learning. When disagreements arise over strategy or priorities, guiding conversations toward shared goals creates common ground. Asking how might our differing perspectives strengthen our collective impact encourages participants to see value in diversity of opinion. Note, it's crucial to maintain respect even during heated exchanges. Establishing clear guidelines up front ensures constructive discourse without allowing harmful rhetoric to dominate. These types of questions transform adversarial interactions into collaborative problem-solving exercises. They remind participants that while approaches may differ, the ultimate objective remains uniting towards justice. Encouraging vulnerability in group discussions. Vulnerability is both powerful and perilous in activist circles. Creating environments where people feel secure enough to share personal stories deepens connections among movement members. Facilitators must carefully balance openness with safety protocols. One effective technique involves starting with anonymous sharing sessions before transitioning to named contributions. This gradual exposure allows individuals to build trust incrementally. An example prompt could be, share a moment when your identity impacted your experience with institutional systems. Such questions invite introspection while respecting boundaries. Maintaining confidentiality agreements reinforces psychological safety. When group members know their disclosures will remain private unless they choose otherwise, they're more likely to engage honestly. Navigating sensitive topics with care. Social justice discussions frequently touch upon traumatic histories and ongoing struggles. Handling these subjects demands exceptional sensitivity and preparedness from moderators. Before facilitating such topics, research should include understanding trauma-informed practices. Knowing signs of emotional distress enables timely interventions when necessary. If a conversation becomes too intense, having pre-established coping mechanisms ready proves invaluable. These might range from scheduled breaks to access to mental health resources. It's also wise to provide optional participation choices. Not everyone feels comfortable discussing deeply painful subject matter, and honoring those preferences maintains inclusive spaces. Building critical thinking skills through questioning. Well-designed questions serve as cognitive training tools, strengthening analytical abilities within activist communities. By consistently posing probing inquiries, organizers cultivate sharper minds capable of identifying flaws in dominant narratives. One particularly useful framework follows the Socratic method. Rather than providing direct answers, facilitators use follow-up questions to push thinkers further along the path of discovery. For instance, after someone suggests a new campaign idea, asking who might this initiative unintentionally harm encourages them to consider unintended consequences proactively. Regular practice with such questioning develops a habit of rigorous scrutiny. Over time, this discipline becomes second nature, enhancing overall effectiveness of grassroots efforts. Evaluating impact through reflective practice to measure whether thoughtful discussions actually lead to positive change. Regular evaluation processes must be integrated into activist work. Tracking outcomes provides data-driven insights into what works best. Simple feedback forms with open-ended questions offer valuable information. Queries like "What was most impactful about today's session?" highlight key takeaways organically. Analyzing patterns across multiple evaluations reveals consistent themes emerging from successful dialogues. These insights inform future question development and discussion formats. Combining qualitative assessments with quantitative metrics offers a fuller picture of progress made through conscious dialogue initiatives. Continuous refinement based on these findings strengthens long-term effectiveness. Designing engaging discussion formats. Traditional debate-style formats rarely yield productive results in activist settings. More dynamic models like circle conversations or World Cafe arrangements promote broader participation and deeper exploration. Circle conversations utilize physical space to emphasize equality among participants. Everyone sits facing each other, creating visual reminders of shared purpose and mutual respect. World Cafe setups allow small groups to rotate through various discussion stations. This structure prevents domination by vocal minorities and ensures wider input from all attendees. Each format brings unique advantages depending on group size and objectives. Selecting appropriate methods maximizes inclusivity and minimizes barriers to entry for newcomers. Cultivating long-term engagement through ongoing dialogue. Sustained momentum in activist movements relies heavily on continuous dialogue. Regular check-ins prevent complacency and reinforce commitment to shared missions. Establishing monthly reflection meetings keeps communities focused on core principles while adapting to changing circumstances. These gatherings provide structured opportunities for course correction and celebration of victories. Introducing peer-to-peer mentoring programs enhances knowledge transfer between experienced leaders and newer members. Mentorship relationships naturally foster ongoing conversations about growth and improvement. Documenting discussions systematically preserves institutional memory. Archives containing past debates and resolutions prove especially helpful during times of uncertainty or transition leadership roles. Conclusion. Thought-provoking discussions form the bedrock of effective activism. By mastering the art of strategic inquiry, organizers empower entire communities to think critically about the status quo. Implementing these practices now lays the foundation for lasting social change. As you apply these techniques, remember that every conversation holds potential to reshape reality itself.